Hi, I'm Pavan Duggal, President Cyberlaws.net, Advocate Supreme Court of India, and the Chairman of the International Commission on Cyber Security Law. Today, we are living in an interconnected world. Across the entire planet, people are broadly using 7 raw materials in their day-to-day life. They use computers, computer systems, computer networks, computer resources, communication devices, as also data and information in the electronic form. But it's precisely this format that's under attack by cyber criminals. And that's the reason why cybercrime as a paradigm, as a phenomenon, has continued to keep on growing with each passing day. Well, initially the figures were small, but slowly the figures have been growing. Now, with billions of dollars at stake and in terms of a global cost to cybercrime, it's very clear that cybercrime is no longer just a distant phenomenon. Cybercrime has permeated almost all areas of human activity and endeavor. But broadly speaking, when I look at cybercrime, one can classify different kinds of cybercrimes in different categories. Broadly speaking, cybercrimes can be broadly classified into 3 main categories. The first category is cybercrimes against property. This is the category of cybercrimes where the target of the cybercriminal is a property. Maybe it's your data, maybe it's a computer, maybe it's a database, or maybe it's even a source code. So typically, hacking, cracking are typical examples of cybercrimes against property. The second categorization of cybercrimes that we are beginning to see across in our day-to-day lives is cybercrimes against persons. These are criminal activities done either in cyberspace or using cyber as a methodology or means for purposes of targeting any particular individual. So the target is the Let's take some examples. Cyber defamation, cyber nuisance, cyber harassment are typical examples of cyber crimes against persons, apart from cyberbullying and trolling per se. And the third broad category of cyber crimes is cyber crimes against nations. These are those criminal activities which are targeted at a particular nation. So cyber war and cyber terrorism are broad examples of cyber crimes against nations. Well, there are more emerging categories that are coming up, but broadly speaking, whatever be the kind or the nature of emerging or evolving cybercrime, invariably you can place a majority of these in these 3 broad categories of cybercrimes. But that's the only categorization as of today. Tomorrow, it will be a different day altogether. And with new emerging cybercrimes that are coming across in different parts of the world, it's only going to be a question of time before new subcategorizations and categories pertaining to evolving cybercrimes actually appear on the horizon. A lot of people want to find out how can they prevent becoming a victim of a cybercrime. And I think there are no magical formulas, but clearly if you do some small due diligence mechanisms and if you are a bit careful in your lives, you can avoid becoming a victim of cybercrime. So what are these due diligence that are required from you as a person? First and foremost, trust the internet, but don't trust it so much that you completely rely upon the same. Internet is a big bad world and there are all kinds of people out there. Number 2, do not blindly trust anyone online, more so if you have not met that particular person in the real world. Number 3, you should be very careful in terms of what all you are sharing on the internet and on social media. Please share only that information that's needed to be known by the concerned person. So, need to know basis is the entire basis for sharing information online. If you're doing online banking transactions, be very, very careful. Only transact on secure websites which begin with HTTPS. Please get an SMS alert for every transaction that you do so that you can be constantly alerted about all the transactions. Try as far as possible not doing any transactions using cyber cafes, because often machines in cyber cafes are infected with spyware and malware. And try not publishing anything online which you would not want anybody else to publish about you. Why? Because if you think you're anonymous online, then think again. You are completely identifiable. Your identity can be tracked in a majority of circumstances. And finally, I think you will need to ensure that you're duly diligent whenever you publish anything online. Don't be in a hurry to publish information. It's always a bad idea to act in a hurry and repent at leisure. And finally, just make sure that you are duly diligent, you are adopting your cyber hygiene methodologies in your day-to-day life, and more significantly, you please use your normal common sense. In a majority of cases, if you are duly diligent and use your normal common sense, the chances are that you are more likely not to become a victim of cybercrime. But I think you should not be mortally afraid of cybercrime. The way cybercrime is evolving across the world, it's very clear that almost all of us are going to be some victim of some cybercrime or the other. So the issue is not that we should be surprised that we could become a victim of cybercrime. The issue is how quickly can we come back to normalcy once we become a victim of cybercrime. And it's very important that we must learn from our respective faults or mistakes, and therefore be duly diligent, be safe, be secure online, and the chances are that you would not become a victim of cybercrime.